spilled in that whole time of me not feeling like doing anything, that's where this shirt came from.
Yeah.
It says me versus me. Because every day when I get up, it's me versus me. It's me versus how I was feeling yesterday, how I'm feeling today. What do I need to work on today?
Right.
Because I feel like people put so much emphasis on what the next person is doing.
Right.
And social media doesn't really help with that either.
It doesn't.
Social media makes you feel, it makes you feel like, oh, so-and-so put something out, so I got to put something out. And it's important to realize that it's okay to not try to keep up with everybody.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Walk With You. Thank you guys for joining me on this episode. Like every episode, I say I have a special guest, right? So I've had I have people who artists, I've had entrepreneurs, I've had creatives, all of those types, right? But we got a special guest. We got Tese, owner of 530. Tese, what's good with you? How you doing?
I'm great, Drew. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining me on the show.
Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it.
Of course. I've been watching you for a minute. I've seen what you've been doing for a minute and just wanted to come in and talk to you. It's like I don't think I've interviewed yet or sat down with somebody that's like a owner of a clothing company, apparel company, and hopefully I'll find out more about if it's bigger than just apparel. But yeah, I've never sat down with anybody like that before, so I'm looking forward to it.
Cool, likewise.
Yeah. So if you would kind of just get into first, like, who is Tese? If somebody had asked, like, who is Tese? Could you talk about that?
So Tese, I am probably the silliest.
Silly. She's goofy. You follow her on Instagram? Y'all follow her on Instagram? She's goofy.
The silliest, laid back, most chill, reserved person. I like to have fun. I like to have a good time.
Yeah.
That's one-on-one.
Right.
But when it comes to business, I'm completely different.
On point.
And my peers kind of jokingly say, like, you are a bulldog when it comes to business. I'm very much, respect my time, respect my brand.
Right.
If we can't do that, then we can't work together.
Right.
But outside of that, if it's good vibes, then we're good.
Yeah. So I already have a question off top of that. So you said bulldog. So can you talk about just like, before I'm going to go back to the front, but can you talk about just like what it's like being in like a male dominated business and having to be a woman and you having that bulldog type of spirit, type of vibe?
I think for me it works.
Yeah.
Because I very much know exactly what I want, what I want my brand to look like, what I don't want it to look like, and having the power to say, yes, I want to work with these people. No, I don't want to work with these people. I feel like a lot of times with apparel brands that are run by men, all of them kind of look similar.
Right.
That's not a jab, but a lot of times you can definitely tell it's a man behind the scenes.
Right.
So with having that feminine touch, I can kind of play on and kind of cater my apparel and my pieces to, both sexes and both genders. Yeah. So that way it doesn't put us in just one box.
Right. So that makes sense. So could you talk about just a little bit about how you found your way into like fashion and modeling? Because if you follow her on Instagram, she modeled for everybody in the city. I done seen, I'm like, so many photo shoots. Like golly. Like, could you just talk about your beginning within fashion and modeling?
Absolutely. And it wasn't even something that I really wanted to do.
Really?
It was almost as if it found me.
Really?
So my background is definitely in entertainment, but it's more of the performing arts. So my background is in dance.
Oh, so you dance. Where the dance videos at? Dance videos on YouTube?
Listen, no. So I started dancing actually when I was 2.
Okay.
So, taking classes, competitions.
Right.
We had some like TV show performances and things like that too. So that's my background. So I've always loved being in front of the camera, being on stage. That's like my element, so to speak.
Same.
I always had an interest in fashion. I like style. I like putting things together. Modeling found me.
Really?
Personally, I always felt like I was too short.
Never too short because you can't really tell on camera.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll tell you a trick one day. But no, I had a friend of mine who was a makeup artist.
Okay.
And she's like, you know what? I have these new palettes. I need to get some new glamour shots done for my port. And she's like, you here? I'm here.
Right.
Let's just go ahead and get it done.
Right.
And once we put that out there, and it started to get a good buzz, she works for Estee Lauder.
Oh,
and
wow.
so once it started to kind of generate a good buzz, it was like, you know what, I might kind of be good at this. And so from there, it's all just networking.
Yeah, Estee Lauder is huge.
Yeah, and whoever you meet, and from there, it was just meeting this person, the next person, and once you kind of get this plethora of people in your network, and then that's really how I got to where I am now.
What year was that when you first started, like that Estee Lauder shoe? What year was that?
Oof.
Can't remember. That's how far back. So you're OG.
It's been a minute.
So
like if you ask me for the year, I don't know.
Okay, wow.
But I will say I've been doing the whole modeling thing for over 10 years now.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's been a little minute.
Yeah. As you talk about just like what a lot of people don't have insight on like what being a model is like the pros and the cons, like the behind the scenes. Just talk about that a little bit.
It's definitely not easy.
Yeah.
A lot of people will,
say it's just
exactly,
pose. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Will assume it's just you stand here and take pictures, and it's so not that. I've had actually different sessions because I do coaching and things like that on the side. And before I'll even take a new client, I'm like, what do you know?
Yeah.
What is modeling to you? And kind of based off of their answer, I can gauge
where they at.
Not even where they at, but do I even really want to work with you? Because a lot of people take it and look at it as if I'm just gonna, flex and get some new pictures for the gram.
Yeah.
And it's not like that. It's actually work. So you have to put that time in and learn your angles.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to find your light. You have to learn what poses work for you and your body type.
Right.
I can wear this. I can't wear that.
Right.
These colors work for me. These colors do not work for me.
Wow.
You can't just go into it and say, I want to work for Nike. Okay, how? What are we going to do? What's the plan? You have to really be educated because there's so many different genres that you can go into.
Yeah.
And so you have to find what works for you.
Right.
What audience can you appeal to? What can you sell? And then you build your portfolio. All right, that's for free, by the way.
That's what we here. We here for games on Walk With You. That's what we here. We here for games.
You build your portfolio around that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've been on a shoot with Tese before for our pastor did some clothing drops, some clothing drops, hoodies and shirts, and like immediately her and her sister they get right into the mode, and it's just like y'all done this before, y'all do this. A lot of times you have to like coach people like on like what to do, and y'all like you already know like, and that speaks to just like your experience.
Yeah, and I will say I don't know it all. So even sometimes on set, like I'm good with taking cues and things like that too. Chin here, turn here, things like that. But once you get that practice and you learn what works for you and how to really model and show yourself in the best light, it works.
Right.
You asked me about cons. You can't do everything.
Yeah.
You can't.
Some stuff off limits for you.
Well, not even in that aspect.
Yeah.
But some things just aren't for you, and once you know that I can't wear this, I can't shoot that because I can't sell it.
Yeah.
So you have to learn those things.
Yeah.
A lot of people will come in and say, well, I just want to be a fashion model, I want to do runways. Can you walk? There's an art to walking. So there's like even though it looks good, it looks easy, you have to learn how to do it the right way.
Right. So you talked about Estee Lauder. What's like the biggest company that you probably shot for? Like the biggest person for the biggest company that you probably shot for?
I was right now White House Black Market.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. I feel like I've heard of White House Black Market. Yeah, I've heard of them. Okay. So do you remember the year that was?
White House Black Market. I've been out the game.
So you're not even in? Okay.
Well, I mean, my focus now is more so on my business and building my own brand. So the majority of what I do is behind the scenes. Okay. I'll take a shoot here and there depending upon what it is. Right. Okay. White House Black Market was at least, I would say, 5 or 6 years ago. Okay. The most recent thing I've done as far as mainstream is I did a spread for Universal Salons and for Apparel magazine. Okay. So those will be coming out pretty soon. Universal Salons is only available online, but Apparel you can pick up anywhere.
That's dope. So within like the modeling world, how do you learn to price yourself? Because that's never really, I've never really got to ask that. Like, how do you learn to price yourself?
You learn your worth. You can't go into it.
You go by hour, or do you go by like, no, it's a flat rate? Like, how do you do it?
It depends.
Okay.
So personally, for me, I charge per hour.
Okay.
I have a flat rate I charge per hour based on what that photographer or what that client is looking for.
Okay.
If I have to travel, that's equated into it as well.
Right.
Do I have to do my own makeup? That's equated into it as well.
Give me your game right here.
So for free, for free.
She like, Drew, I want to talk about this, all my secrets, Drew.
Like that's it. So me, definitely. I have a, if it's just maybe an hour, something we can knock out in an hour. Okay, cool. I'll give you a flat rate. But if it's gonna be a situation where this is something that we're gonna be doing for 2-3 hours, okay, then this is my rate per hour, and I'm not gonna lowball myself.
Right.
So my minimum is going to be X amount with a minimum of 2 hours.
Okay.
I'm not coming there.
She's like, y'all didn't have to give me for 30 minutes.
Exactly, exactly.
Right.
I'm not coming there because there's a lot of preparation that goes into it. I have to get myself ready. Hair has to be done.
Right.
Makeup has to be done. Nails have to be done.
Right.
There's a lot of preparation. So if I have to take care of all of this, you're definitely going to pay me for my time because I'm going to make sure that whatever your product is, I'm going to make it look fine.
Redeemed from the curse of the law.
I know that.
You know your Bible.
You should get this. A, Galatians 2:20. B, John 19:30. And
A.
C, yes, it's A. I'm like, you know Galatians. As much as Uncle Paul talk about crucified with Christ, as much as Uncle Paul talk about crucified with Christ, you should know that. You should know that.
I reign in life through Jesus Christ.
I know that. Go ahead. What's that? It's a 30-second, ain't it?
It's 15 seconds.
I know that.
I'm trying to figure out if I know that.
Come on.
Okay. A, 2 Corinthians 5:21. B, 1 Corinthians 2:9. No, 1 Peter 2:9. C, Romans 5:17. Remember your righteousness. Is C?
Yep.
Oh,
That's just Prince verse. No, that's the staple of our transformation into grace.
Reign in life.
Yeah, reign in life through Jesus Christ. So did it start off like with like not lowballing, or did you always like you knew your price like from jump, or did you kind of work your way up to like being confident?
You definitely have to work your way up because you can't start off jump charging people because people are gonna look at you crazy. You have to market yourself in a way that makes people want to work with you.
Right.
So if your work is trash, and when I say trash, if you don't necessarily know what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I use trash for everything. You good? I use trash. If it's not good, if it's not fire, it's trash.
Right.
Sometimes I put it.
So if your work is trash,
right.
If you're a photographer, it's trash.
Right.
If you're new to this and you're just coming out, you can't ask for somebody to pay you.
Right.
Because they're not getting a return on their investment.
Right.
So I definitely had to work my way up. The first couple of years when I started, it was doing a whole lot of test shoots because I had to learn what I look like on camera.
Okay.
So doing a whole lot of test shoots, building up my portfolio. And then once I got to a point where I started getting booked,
right.
And then eventually once you build it up, like not to toot my own horn or place myself at a certain caliber. Yeah. But once you get to a certain point and people start to reach out to you,
right.
Because in the beginning you're building,
right.
gets okay, who has good work? Who can I work with, to get some nice shots done? But once people start to reach out to you, it's like, oh, wait a minute. Like, it's not like you need me now.
Yeah.
So, and then you price yourself accordingly.
So one thing that I kind of got taught like early on, like doing like photography and video, is like once you get that one gig and it pays you X amount, don't go back from under that. Do you kind of do that same thing with modeling? Like, I don't know what your biggest check is. I don't want you to say it either because I don't want people count her pockets. But like whatever that biggest check was from that, do you now charge as a flat rate, or do you still like go by like person and like
it depends because you don't want to hit anybody over the head.
Hey man, shoot. Not everybody, but like corporations.
Exactly. You charge what you're worth, but you do it respectfully, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If it's a new up and coming brand that I'm trying to help out, I'm not gonna charge them what I would charge somebody else. Yeah. It just it really just depends.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So within modeling, one thing that I've seen that's on your Instagram, it says you were former Miss Black Charlotte USA. Mm-hmm. Could you talk about what that is and like, so was that a pageant or was it a pageant? Ooh, you said you did pageant. We getting into this. Yeah. So yeah, because I didn't know. I was like, ooh, I'm like this pageant. Talk about so was that your first pageant? You've been doing pageants your whole life too.
That was my first and last pageant.
So that's why. So it's just like, yeah, I'm not. Pageant life is different.
It's so funny you asked about that because
if she want to use her words.
No,
right?
It's not even that. If my coach seen it, she would kill me. But I was never the pageant girl. That I never wanted to do that.
I don't think.
Like, look at what I wear. Like I'm so not the pageant girl.
Right.
I honestly did that only to see if I could win.
And then you won.
Right. So it was, this is new to me. Let me find somebody who knows this world so they can coach me. And this was back in 2015.
Okay.
So had to learn all of that. And pageantry is, it's a different type of.
Yeah, I see it on E.
It's a different world. The glam and glitz is there, but it was just, it's not for me.
Politics. Too much politics. It's behind the scenes, messy.
Not even that. I just didn't like it.
You didn't like it? Okay.
I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
Having to, I'm not gonna act it out, but having to be.
She was about to for a second.
I was having to be like super cheerful and giddy.
Oh yeah, like.
And that's so not me.
You gonna get what you get.
Yeah. So that's so not me. But I went into it, and there's different categories. They have like so there's an interview category where you have no question what they're going to ask you.
Okay.
And that's backstage. That doesn't happen on stage. And there's like a panel, like 3 people. And I can't remember how long it was. It may be like 60 seconds and maybe 2 minutes. And for those 2 minutes, they're just throwing questions at you. Just to see how you answer. So you have to be well versed and up to date on politics, current events.
Yeah,
things
but is
like
that like, so it's like, you've seen like the TV shows where they do the modeling or the pageants? Like, oh, what would one thing you do to change the world? They really ask stupid questions like that.
My onstage question was, gosh, what was my onstage question? Oh, you have to have they call it a platform.
Yeah.
So where you see girls get up there and they're like, oh, I just want world peace. And
saying that. Yeah, like.
And if I win, I'm gonna. This goes back to the National Hungry Children Society, just to make something up.
Wow.
They'll ask you, like, my onstage question was linked to my platform.
Okay.
And my platform at that time was Alzheimer's awareness, because that's something that affected somebody close to me and my family. So the question that they asked me was about the treatment for it. And so if you don't know what you're talking about, or if you have done any research, you're just going to be up there like a deer in headlights.
Man.
The interview, there's a talent portion, and then just different categories where it's really like you just walking out on stage modeling, not what I'm used to, because pageantry, they have a whole different type of walk.
Right. Okay.
But I will never do it again. Like,
I just because when you see it on TV, it's like, oh, I want world peace. I'm like, do they really? But art imitates life, I guess. So
yeah, it's like I ended up winning. I was hype. I won.
Yeah.
I ended up winning the pageant, and I ended up winning the talent award. Okay. But the crazy thing about it, like in the middle of the show or in the middle of the whole pageant backstage, I remember my dad came back to the dressing room. And he was like, come here, I need to see you for a minute. And I'm like, wow, like, how you just gonna come back here in the middle of a pageant? He was like, look, I already seen the rest of the competition. You already won. I just want to tell you that. He was like, just take that into the rest of whatever you're about to do. And so ended up winning. And then once you win at the local level, then you have to go to the state pageant.
Right. Yeah,
I didn't want to do that.
Yeah. So
I told my coach, and they were like, we have to have a rep for the state. And I'm just like,
so they just took the runner-up?
It's above me now. I just didn't want to do it. So yeah. And they take the next person who's willing to go.
That's crazy. So within so you did the modeling, you did the pageantry. What's your favorite thing about modeling and fashion?
It lets me be myself.
How do you be yourself within my own?
I can wear whatever I want to wear. I'm not put into a box. If I want to wear a red shirt, green shoes, purple pants, I can do that. It's all in how you put it together. I like the individuality that it provides, you know, everybody. And, you know, people will always say, like, does this look right? Does this look weird? And my biggest thing is, if you like it, wear it.
Right.
And it lets you, you know, be creative and just lets you be whoever you are.
Yeah. So can you talk about, like, the growing, like, representation that, like, as it stands right now, the last 5 years, you've seen a lot of black individuals, black people getting, like, major, like, I would say campaigns, just been editorial, stuff like that. Could you just talk about, like, from where you started to now, like, just the growing representation of black people within mainstream fashion?
I think now what we're seeing, I think is dope.
Yeah.
I feel like for so long, we've always had to beg to be invited where we weren't already included. And so now I think, especially with all the movements and things that are going on, in a sense, we've made people pay attention to us. And it's like, you know what? We can't really do it without them. So let's just go ahead and bring them in. Or oftentimes, for lack of better words, we rock something way better than others.
We do.
It is what it is. And so I think it's great. And I think that a lot of us have started to realize we don't always have to beg to be in different places. We can create our own roads. Yeah. And that's kind of exactly the mindset that I went into with my brand. Personally, this is not, I'm not to be rude.
She's like, we do it tastefully over here.
Not even that. The point that I'm making is, personally, for my brand, I only use black models. I only use people who look like me.
I get that.
Because I wanted to have a certain representation. Right. And I just don't feel like I necessarily need to open up the door to other people when I can create a way for my own people. Right.
And I understand that completely in choosing, because that's when you create your own business, you have the freedom to be able to do that and, like, open up doors. Like, I hope whenever I get my own entertainment company, I would just hire black people. I don't want to hire, because we need more representation in entertainment and just behind the scenes and stuff like that. So if you have a company, do it yourself. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we've had plenty of, like, casting calls and things like that. And, like, one of the questions I always ask whenever we have casting calls is, what can you bring to the company that we don't already have? How can you make it better? And it's always people of, you know, different races or cultures. They'll say, well, I can bring diversity because you don't have anybody that looks like me. And it's like,
it's on purpose, sis.
Exactly.
Oh, so you're doing like the whole casting calls, like you're like, and you're not, you could do in terms of, like, reaching out to your clientele or people that you know to say, hey, model for me, but no, like, you're actually doing, like,
so sometimes, both, but kind of like the best of both worlds. Okay. If there's like a show or something like that I'm doing, and I know I have some heavy hitters that I can just hit up, I'll reach out to them. Okay. But that might be like maybe 2 or 3. Okay. So if I need 15 models, I still got to find more. Right. So then we'll have a casting call and put it out there. Now, anybody's welcome to come. Yeah. It's just for my brand, that's what I want. Yeah.
That's cool. That's dope. So can you talk about 530 and, like, where the name came from?
Yeah, so 530 is actually my birthday.
Okay. I figured it was.
Yep, May 30th. So, and 530 is actually not the first clothing brand that I've had. So this is my second around.
Second iteration, okay.
The first one I did a few years ago, and it completely flopped. But it was what I needed. It was what I didn't know I needed. I didn't really know what I was doing. I knew that's what I wanted to do. I just didn't know how. Right. So not really having the resources as far as the finances, not really taking the time to put the knowledge in and figure out the business part of everything. All I knew was that I like clothes. I want a brand. I want to sell clothes, and that's what I went with, and it flopped. So taking the time to learn everything behind the scenes, I revamped it. And with 530, that was like my newest business venture, so to speak. So I figured, this is my new baby. This is what I'm birthing, you know, into my life. So why not name it after the day I was born? Yeah. And that's where 530 came from. So
can you talk about just what is it like owning an apparel company?
It is hard work. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. I mean, you have your you have your highs and your lows.
Right.
Like, of course, whenever you see stuff moving and you see the revenue start to
Yeah.
come in, yeah, that's a good day.
Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, we moving units.
Right,
Yeah.
but nobody sees when you get into the creative funk. Nobody sees, you know, I need to put out new merch, but I don't know what I want to put out, or I don't feel like putting anything out. So it's a lot of work. It's very rewarding, but it's also very taxing too.
Yeah.
I would say one of the biggest things that I've learned so far with having my own brand is that you can't do everything yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm a very hands-on person.
Yeah.
So I ended up learning that the hard way.
That was like stretching yourself thin.
Not even stretching myself thin, but when you have a brand and you've put your all into it, you know how you want it to be executed. And it's almost like if I do it myself, I know it's done, and it's done the way I want.
Question for you. Do you want to create high quality content, but you don't have the resources to do so? My name is Drew Muzan, the founder of That's Genius Media, and I want to help you accomplish your goal. I started here, and I'm currently here. So I know what it's like to be without the resources to be able to create that dope content. I'm looking for small business owners and content creators looking to get their start creating content. I have 5+ years of content creation experience, and I have the high quality equipment that you need in order to accomplish your goal. So I want you to hit my email below, and let's get started on your genius idea today. Peace.
I don't have to lean that to anybody else.
Right.
But you definitely become overwhelmed. So now I've started, you know, letting people help.
Yeah.
in a sense. So I'm not so, you know, overwhelmed.
Yeah. So you had mentioned something about like not feeling like it, part of the business side is not feeling like it. Talk about just when you're in those moments of when you're not inspired, like how do you dig yourself out of those creative funks?
Personally, you just have to allow yourself to feel what you're feeling and allow yourself to work through it.
Yeah.
The more I try to ignore, you know, what I was dealing with, and it wasn't even, I wouldn't even say I was depressed. It was just more so I did not feel like it because I had so many other things that I was trying to focus on at the time. So allowing myself to go through that, I think is really important, not to try to force it. Yeah. Because you don't just want to throw something together and spend money, time, and resources to put something out.
That, yes.
And it's like, as we say, and it's trash.
Trash. Just say like trash. Like,
So you just working through it, and then like what works for me is my self-help things, as far as like taking the time away from it to do the things I like to do. Get back to the things, you know, that make me happy. And then once I feel inspired, because that inspiration will come, you just gotta give it time.
Right.
And then you go back to it.
You never know when, because it's like I preach that so much about just like needing to be inspired, because a lot of times you get from individuals like around me, it's just like, oh, like they think it's inspiration is just as much as like, okay, what Instagram accounts are you following? That's part of it too. Like maybe you need to see some new colors, or you need to watch something that'll inspire you. And I stay pressed to YouTube, and I'm watching stuff all the time, but sometimes you just don't feel it. And I don't want to be that inauthentic person that's just like, okay, I'm just going to put this content out here just because I got a deadline and I got to do it. Like, I started a show over the summer, that Rejecting Religion, the whole Rejecting Religion shoot, right? I did one episode, and then I went on vacation like the week later, and then I came back from vacation. I didn't feel like it anymore. And I'm like, okay, I stopped, but I've done told everybody. That's the thing. Keep your mouth shut. That's what I'm still learning about myself. Keep your mouth shut about, I'm doing this for the rest of you. Don't say that. Just create.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I had did that, and I'm like, okay, I don't feel like doing Rejecting Religion right now. I feel like doing Walk With You, which is what we're doing now. But if I would have just stuck in that space of, okay, this is what you committed to, this is what you done told the people about it, there would be no Rejecting Religion episodes, because I'm not feeling creative in that direction. And then just recently, I just picked up my phone last week and started doing, what does the Bible really say?
Yeah.
And
it's hitting.
And it's hitting. People are responding back to it, but I'm like, I still don't want to do Rejecting Religion. I'm just doing this little content over here. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I totally understand about that.
That's how it is. That whole spill and that whole time of me not feeling like doing anything, that's where this shirt came from. It says me versus me. Because every day when I get up, it's me versus me. It's me versus how I was feeling yesterday, how I'm feeling today. What do I need to work on today?
Right.
Because I feel like people put so much emphasis on what the next person is doing.
Right.
And social media doesn't really help with that either.
It doesn't.
Social media makes you feel, it makes you feel like, oh, so-and-so put something out, so I got to put something out. And it's important to realize that it's okay to not try to keep up with everybody.
Yeah, that's what, when I had went on my vacation into Denver, like at the end of April, like that was one thing. I came back, like, I'm not about to, like, I was doing a bunch of like other like different series or whatever for other people. Like, just like, okay, I'm doing this because I'm trying to grow my brand or whatever, but I'm like, my heart's not really into this. And I came back from Denver. I'm like, bro, I'm not doing it. If it's creative and I want to do it, I'm going to put it out there. I don't really care how it is, because you don't really, a lot of times people don't really know you don't need 100,000 followers to be a millionaire.
Right. And
that's one thing I had to realize in myself. I'm like, bro, you don't need that. It's about knowing who you know. It's about being consistent and just doing the work, and you'll the pieces will come together. But yeah, like that's one thing I'm preaching. It's like, if I don't want to do it, I'm not gonna do it.
That's exactly where I am now. Yeah. And that saved me a lot of time. I used to be not necessarily a yes man. Yeah. But if somebody had something and they asked me to help them out with it, I would say, you know what? Yeah, I'll look into it. But now I'm very big. Like, my energy is really big on, I'm not doing anything that I don't want to do. Yeah. And it could be anything. Like, even people that I'm close to will ask me to do something, and it's just like, Yeah. And being solid in I'm being selfish right now. Like, I got to take care of me right now. So I get it.
Yeah. So talk about the different things that you provide with 530.
So under 530, there's a lot. Okay. So of course we have the brand, the apparel brand. With that, we have things for men and women. I don't know if people know this as well, but I also introduced a fragrance last year under 530. Okay. So I have a fragrance that's called 3 Wishes. It's unisex. Okay. I should have brought some so you could smell it. But
cool. Got it. I'll put it. Will you have pictures online? Are pictures online?
Yep.
Okay,
on the website.
I'll put it in the video.
Yep. So there's a fragrance under there. Okay. We're actually introducing candles this fall. So the candles are the 3 Wishes fragrance. So you can either buy it to spray on, or if you just want your house to smell good. Yeah. That too. Up under that, like I said before, I also offer coaching services and things like that. So people that want to get into the industry, people that want to learn. You got to be serious, because I'm definitely not going to waste my time. I'm really please do not waste my time. If you're not serious about it, if you haven't looked into it, please just may the Lord watch between me and me. But other than that, we offer that. Okay. I'm also part of, this isn't necessarily up under 530, but it's affiliated with my company. We do show productions. Okay. So any type of fashion shows, events, and things like that. A few years ago, we did the first ever fashion show for the Charlotte Black Film Festival. Oh, okay, wow. And it was called Fashion of Film, so we curated that whole thing as far as finding the models, finding the designers, producing the whole show from start to finish. Yeah.
So what's it like running, like specifically talking about with apparel, like apparel? So I interviewed somebody that has an apparel company a couple weeks ago. What's it like specifically with like apparel, like finding that, designing that? Like how do you go about those things?
I can't draw, so I don't design. Okay. More so, and my brand has really has shifted a lot to now it's more so just ready to wear things. Okay. As far as finding that design, it's just what inspires me at the time. And I feel like a lot of times, how do I want to say this? It doesn't have to be something that's super complex. Simple works. Okay. So if it's relatable, like for this shirt, me versus me, who can't relate to that? And who doesn't like t-shirts? Yeah. So
that's the thing too, yeah.
A lot of times, we'll center it to whatever's going on in the world at the time.
So are you getting busy within the Photoshop and the InDesign, or are you simply like how do you go about getting a design on the?
This is Photoshop. I know what Photoshop is. I have no clue what InDesign is.
It's another app.
What InDesign is. As far as like the printing and the designing and things like that, I do all of that myself. Okay. So it's just more so putting it into the computer, into the software. Okay. Cutting it out, pressing
you got your own screen
all
print?
of that.
Okay, you bossing. Oh, you got money. She bossing. She got a screen print.
That's that. It's just like when I first started, like because you don't know this stuff off jump. You have to learn as you go. Yeah. So when I first started and I would need stuff printed, I would just take it I would have my design, digitized, and I would literally take it to the mall. And say, can you press this for me? Yeah. Because I didn't know, anything else to do. If I send it out to a company, they're going to charge me $30 for one shirt. Right. So it was like, you know what? Let me learn how to do this myself. And cut out the middleman and save myself some money and some time on the back end.
Yeah. I did an interview with a cat, I want to say back in March, named Shane, the owner of Westcott Studio. He has his own screen printing and do his own designs, but he's also like getting busy with like the design work too. So like he's designing his own thing and then he's screen printing it up like that too.
That's dope.
So yeah, it's like really dope hearing it. Like, okay, yeah, you getting busy with the designs. So like how can you talk about what it's like being within fashion itself is kind of oversaturated, but at the same time, same thing with apparel. Apparel's oversaturated, podcasting's oversaturated. All these different things are oversaturated. How do you stand out and be unique within your company? And like, how do you deal with like, it's oversaturated, but I still want to do it? The phrase is Jesus finished the work. The choices are A, John 19:30, B, Hebrews 9:28, C, Matthew 8:17. 3, 2, 1. Remember your righteousness.
Is it A?
Yeah. Dang. All right. Yeah.
Nah, because I've been in the book of John, so that's why I'm able to realize.
Right. Is it 15 or 30?
Oh, it's 30 seconds.
30. I'll go for it.
All right. I am no longer a slave. I am a son. A, 2 John 1:2. B, Romans 8:17. Or C, Galatians 4:7. 3, 2, 1. Remember your righteousness.
C.
Yep. I figured that's what it was too.
Was it fun?
It's cool because it kind of, I just learned the Bible too at the same time.
Right.
And you even go to that verse, like if you got it wrong, you feel like what was it, and then you go to the verse and read it, so you learn it at the same time.
Simply put, I'm me.
Yeah.
So, you know, my individual self, how I think, how I do things. Yes, it's oversaturated, but you're always going to have something that is different from everybody else.
Right.
And I feel like with every brand has their own individual flair. For example, like with my brand, certain things can be dressed up, they can be dressed down.
Right.
So yeah, you're paying for it, but you can get a lot of different wears out of it.
Right.
Another thing about me, I'm big on sneakers. I love sneakers.
Yeah, she a sneakerhead. So, y'all wasn't here when we was talking about this post earlier. If she sees some felines on your feed, you gotta go the other way, bro. I'm sorry.
But a lot of my stuff is geared towards that too.
Right.
So if you just want a chill fit, there's shirts that match the latest pair of shoes that came out.
Oh, so you're matching like to ones and you're matching.
And just keep it simple.
Yeah, I like that. That's dope. So if there's one piece of advice that you can give to like young entrepreneurs that's trying to get into just apparel, just owning a company, period, what's one piece of advice that you would give an entrepreneur?
Two things. One, do your research. Know the avenue that you're trying to get into. Know what it's going to cost you. Know what you need. Know what the risks are. So definitely do your research. Two, find your mentor. One of my biggest things is people say, you know, I want to do this. I want to walk in New York Fashion Week. I want to design. I want to do this. And it's so important to get a mentor who's been there, because a person can only take you as far as they've been. So it's important to know somebody who basically find you somebody who's already done it, so they can help you get to where you want to be.
So within that, I just had the question on the top of my head, and it just left me. No, okay, so that's what it was. So within COVID, COVID has happened past 2 years. Talk about having to pivot as a business person, as an entrepreneur with COVID. Like, how did you deal with like COVID happening and stuff like that?
I feel like COVID was probably the best thing that could have happened for my business.
Really?
I had time.
Yeah.
I had time. Not only did I have time, but I was at home. So now we can't go nowhere because everything is closed. So now I have time to do nothing but create and to lend to my business. And it really worked out. Like we had last year was a good year for us.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I've had a lot of people have said that too. It's like it was a blessing in disguise. Like for me, like this show was birthed out of quarantine. Just like sitting there, just like not doing nothing, and then just like, oh, okay, let's do a show, because I couldn't. What I was doing episodes by myself. And then because I couldn't get this space or get other spaces at that time, so I was just, okay, let's do it and just do a different show, and did it. And it was birthed out of it, so I definitely understand that a lot.
Yeah, that's how COVID last year is kind of how the fragrance came to be too, because I wanted to expand.
Yeah.
And I had a friend of mine who's actually a curator. And so we've worked together on several different projects. The friend of mine actually does video.
Okay.
But he's a person who wears many hats.
Yeah.
So he's like, Tese, you ever thought about doing your own fragrance? I was like, no. So, but he's like, you know what? I think that it'll be, good for you and something else to push with your brand. And so we actually had the time to sit down, put different scent notes together, and figure out how to get it to smell exactly what I wanted it to smell like.
Yeah, that process is crazy. Talk about that process. Like, you got your own fragrance. Like, that's a huge, like, in the sense of, like, everyday people are not like, oh, let me create a fragrance, so I have my own fragrance. Like, people don't do that every single day.
It was a blessing.
Yeah.
I wasn't as hands-on, so I wasn't the person actually mixing the things. Of course. It was just more so, you know what you wanted to smell exactly. Like. What did I want it to smell like? Personally, I don't like anything girly. I don't like anything fruity. Really? So I wanted it to smell.
So back in the day, what's that black cherry blossom?
No, that's that Japanese cherry blossom. Don't say that. That's Jasmine's favorite.
I remember that's just like you brought me back to middle school, just always seeing that and hearing that.
Yes, that Japanese cherry blossom and cotton candy. That's what girls just spray all the time.
Right.
I did not want to smell like that.
Really?
No.
That's all the girls that smell like? Yeah, okay,
no.
So you just being different.
I wanted it to smell woodsy.
Okay.
I wanted it to smell sort of masculine. Okay. So that way it could be unisex.
Okay.
But putting that together, and we went through like maybe 3 or 4 different batches. And we would meet up and I'd smell, nope, that ain't it. That ain't it. Change this, make this a little bit more sweeter, make this a little heavier, a little muskier. And then once we finally got it, it was like, you know what, this is it.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a work in progress, but I appreciate, the friend that I had to reach out to me to say, you know what, I think you can do this, because I wasn't even thinking about it.
Right. So is the next steps, of course, owning it, of course, like keeping it in house, but you're trying to get that in stores like Sephora, Target, et cetera, et cetera.
The hardest thing with fragrances is how to market it, because you can't smell it through the TV. Yeah. So it's like, how do I get people to tap in to something that they can't even test or they can't even smell? Right. So definitely I do want to, mass produce it and have it, distributed. But it's just one step at a time. Right.
I understand that 100%. So if you would just kind of shout out your website, shout out social media, and where people can go and see 530 and buy 530 and stuff like that, and check your work out as well.
So the website is super easy. It's www.shop530.com. Shop number 5, spell out 30.com. As far as the Instagram, social media, 530 Inc. INC. Okay. And then my personal page, Expertise.
And then, so what plans do you have for the rest of the year? Like, what? I know you said we were talking about beforehand. You got fall coming up, so you just preparing fall and winter line. And that's it.
Preparing fall and winter. For a while, I've wanted to do a show. I haven't done a show in years, so I'm ready to get back into that whole space where I can, not only show my stuff, but I have other friends and other colleagues who have their own lines too. Right. So giving them a platform to show their stuff to, the city, other people that come out, different vendors. Right. Give everybody a chance to shine, but also at the same time, a chance to make some money too. Okay. So that's what we can be on the lookout for. Absolutely. It's just COVID. Yeah. And then this that's a weird ghetto space. Delta variant. So
very ghetto. 10 out of 10 would not recommend.
So it's like it puts a damper on things. Right. And I see last year people have done like virtual fashion shows. They just don't hit the same.
Yeah, they don't hit the same.
You don't get the same experience.
Yeah, I'm not about I didn't even like doing virtual interviews until my thing was about the look with virtual interviews. A lot of people just put the black screen up on the Zoom call. And I didn't even want to do virtual interviews because it's it don't hit the same as in person.
Like the virtual fashion shows. Okay, you just got people walking down the hall, and it's it's cute, but it's even if you sit back watching the Victoria's Secret fashion show, it's dope. But it would be that much more better if you were there
in person, right? Yeah.
So I get it, but that's what shows definitely gearing up for fall and winter. Okay. The candles will be out, shortly too. Okay. And then who knows what else may come after that. Yeah.
So hit her up if you need any of those things, and then also two models. I know y'all it might be one of the models out there. The fee ain't cheap. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a manager, but I'm just fee ain't cheap. You got to come correct. You know what I'm saying? do that. But I appreciate you coming on here and just sharing some of your expertise.
I see what you did there.
Sharing some of your expertise and just about your business. If you guys enjoy this, please get this out to all your friends. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I hope you guys enjoy this. My name is Drew Muzon. This is Tese Huntley. And I hope you guys enjoy this. See you guys later. Peace.